is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
I think a new world order is emerging.
An inside job? How dare you? How dare you?
To create, so to say, mass-produced models of human beings arranged in some kind of a scientific caste system.
We shall go on to the end. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall never surrender.
Good day, everybody. It's 12th of June 2014. Excuse me. Yeah. This is UCY.tv with the Solvinur Event. And today we're going to make a start with some other topic. I've been doing Trivium, and I don't know if that is what I want to do anymore. Yeah, it's I don't know. It seems there's good things to it, like for instance the logic part. The fallacies, you know, you should know them so that you won't get tricked, or that you can point at fallacies when you're having a discussion with someone. And so those are good things. Doing a research on Aristotelian logic is also good. It's a guide for correct reasoning. All right. There are different kinds of logic. There's symbolic logic, for instance. Don't waste your time on that. There's also formal logic, I've been told. That's more abstract and ties a bit more to math. I took a little look into that, and I don't like it, but that doesn't mean that it isn't good. Alright, so, but I don't know if it's good for radio. Yeah. So, how you doing, everybody in the chat? Let's see, 8Hawks, Colby, Olsen, Dan, JJ, Joe, Lamperdiedel, Vince, Coop, and Two Anons. Welcome, everybody. So I was thinking about doing something with ancient stuff, and I will be having an interview shortly, like next week, with James Anthony West. As far as I'm concerned, he's one of the experts on ancient Egypt, and I've already got a huge list with keywords that I will be formulating some questions upon. He's wrote a book, Serpents in the Sky, check that out. And That's going to be interesting. The ancient stuff that I'm going to talk about today, though, is not linked to Egypt. Although, according to their mythology, Egypt is flowing from there. So maybe we will get to that at some point. I don't know when. Could be weeks, months. That is even mentioned, if it is mentioned at all. But I just know that from talking to other people that have studied the mythologies of ancient India. So that's what we'll be talking about. There are a couple of things that you could go to if you want to study ancient Indian mythology. There's the Bhagavad Gita, and there's the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's the Upanishads, for instance. But there's also, and some of the stories that you will find in the Bhagavad Gita and are included in this, as far as I know. There's also what is known as the Mahabharata. Maha means great. Bharata is a kingdom named after the king Bharat, or Bharata, I'm not sure exactly. So, this it's too big. You know, this translator that I read about thought that he might not even finish his translation before he died, so that'll tell you how fracking big it is. But there's translations available of what is known as the Mahabharata. And that's what we're going to talk about today. If you want to join or have any questions, you can do so by contacting me at Skype. That's SOLVINUR. SOLVINUR. You can also email me, solvinur2@yahoo.com. SOLVINUR, the number 2, at yahoo.com. You can also go to ucy.tv. Mouse over shows, click on any of them, and you will end up in the chat room. And there you can also ask questions. I'll try to keep an eye on it. But if you want to join on the radio, just contact me at Solvinur on Skype, and I will drag you in, and we'll see what we can do, right? So, I'm laughing at the chat here. The beginning of this Mahabharata is it's a lot of who is who and hi and be seated and things like that. So we'll have to wade through that. Even though I am familiar with some of what is in the Mahabharata, I haven't read it from finish to start, so I don't know how far we will have to get into it before the story kind of starts, you know, because like I said, it's a lot of who is who and hello and please be seated and things like that. Honorable this and venerable that. So let's see what we got here, right? This is apparently the beginning. There are no Sanskrit texts in here. It's just pure English. I don't like that, to be honest with you. The previous research that I've done was in Sanskrit with a word-for-word translation. and a flowing translation, and that helped. If you would look at word for word translation of the Sanskrit, then you could get a better understanding of what the verse was trying to tell you. So this doesn't have that. There's no Sanskrit. There's no word for word translation. We'll just have to take this translator's word for it, that he actually made a correct translation of what is known as the Mahabharata. It goes into sections. You know, it's not like chapters. They are called sections, apparently. All right. So there in the Mahabharata, there's the Pausya Parva, there's the Pauloma Parva, then Ashtika Parva. Would Parva be book or something? I don't know. Adivan Savatarana Parva, Sambhava Parva. That one has a lot of sections. Then Jatugriha Parva, then Hidimva Vada Parva, then Vakavada Parva, Chaitrarata Parva, Swayamvara Parva, Vaivahika Parva, more Viduragamana Parva. Something to do with Vidura, I think. I'm not sure. He's a personage in the whole tale here. Rajalabha Parva, Arjuna Vanavasa Parva. There's another person, Arjuna, the archer. Subhadra Harana Parva. And more, two more. Harana Parva and Kandava Daha Parva. That's all of them. A few have like only 2 sections, or there's one here with even 1 sections. Most have like 6 to, well, this one is huge. That looks like 30 sections. This one is also huge, like 20. Most have like 6 to 10 sections. Book 1 is Adi Parva. And that's where we're going to pick this up. Section 1. So it starts with Om. That is usually the starting sound when reading anything that has to do with the Vedas. All right, Mahabharata is Veda. That's like OM, also known as OHM. Yeah, nothing to do with resistance of an electrical current. The word Om is made up of 3 letters, H, not H, A, U, and M, and they represent a trinity. A stands for Brahma, U stands for Vishnu, and M stands for Shiva. Good morning, Mrs. C. Gypsy. How you doing? What's that accent I'm hearing? Yeah, well, I'm not an American. I ain't an American. Yeah. So it starts with Om. Having bowed down to Narayana and Nara, the most exalted male being, and also to the goddess Sarasvati, must the word Jaya be uttered. All right. They're speaking here of Narayana. The mythology surrounding him is that he was granted the ability to travel in space without spaceships. No need for that. He just moves his body wherever he likes, can travel from star to star, from planet to planet. And he also is carrying a musical instrument. And the word Jaya must be uttered. Jaya is where it's probably, there is a etymological type, but not only that, it also means the same. Jaya is tied to the English word joy. Alright. Picking it up. Ugrasrava, the son of Lomar Sharshana, surnamed Sauti, well versed in the Puranas, bending with humility, one day approached the great sages of rigid vows, sitting at their ease, who had attended the 12-year sacrifice of Saunaka, surnamed Kulapati, in the forest of Naimisha. Those ascetics, wishing to hear his wonderful narrations, presently began to address him who had thus arrived at that recluse abode of the inhabitants of the forest of Naimisha. Having been entertained with due respect by those holy men, he saluted those munis, that's brackets open, sages, with joint brackets close, with joined palms, even all of them, and inquired about the progress of their asceticism. Then all the ascetics, being again seated, the son of Lamurshana humbly occupied the seat that was assigned to him. Seeing that he was comfortably seated and recovered from fatigue, one of the rishis, beginning the conversation, asked him, Whence comest thou, O lotus-eyed Sati, and where hast thou spent the time? Tell me, who asked thee in detail? Accomplished in speech, Sauti, thus questioned, gave in the midst of that big assemblage of contemplative munis a full and proper answer in words consonant with their mode of life. Sauti said, having heard the diverse sacred and wonderful stories which were composed in his Mahabharata by Krishna Dvaipayana, and which were recited in full by Vaishampayana at the snake sacrifice of the high-souled royal sage Janamejaya, and in the presence of all that chief of princes, the son of Parikshit, and having wandered about visiting many sacred waters and holy shrines, I journeyed to the country venerated by the Dvayas, that's twice born. Is that a term that is familiar to you? Twice born, you Christians out there? And called Samanta Panchaka, where formerly was fought the battle between the children of Kuru and Pandu. Alright, so this is taking place after the battle of Kurukshetra. It should probably come back in this whole Mahabharata. If not, I will notice and if we ever finish this, I will tell you more about this Battle of Kurukshetra. Formerly was fought the battle between, that's the place where formerly was fought the battle between the children of Kuru and Pandu, and all the chiefs of the land ranged on either side. Thence, anxious to see you, I am come into your presence, ye revered sages, all of whom are to me as Brahma, ye greatly blessed, who since in this place of sacrifice, with the splendor of the solar fire, ye who have concluded the silent meditations, and have fed the holy fire, and yet who are sitting without care. What, O ye Dvayas, shall I repeat? Shall I recount the sacred stories collected in the Puranas containing precepts of religious duty and of worldly profit, or the acts of illustrious saints and sovereigns of mankind? Alright. So it is assumed by most Indians that in those days, this story, when it says he came to this forest, this is thousands of years ago, right? More than 5,000 years ago. And it is said that in those days, people did not have a need to write things down because they could memorize anything that was told to them. The Rishi replied, the Purana, first promulgated by the great Rishi Dvaipayana, and which after having been heard both by the gods and the Brahmarshis, was highly esteemed, being the most eminent narrative that exists, diversified both in diction and division, possessing subtle meanings, logically combined, and gleaned from the Vedas, is a sacred work. Yeah. This is just my comment here, right? The logic that we will encounter when reading this is rather strange. I would not call that logic because there seem to be a lot of contradictions, and we will get to that. Composed in elegant language, yeah, that is true. When you read this, these ancient Sanskrit texts, and I did read some of those as an exercise, and also reading to other people. I was reading the Sanskrit text also, and then the translations. When you read those texts, it really is a poem. It rhymes in Sanskrit. It doesn't do that anymore when you translate it to English, but it still has, yeah, it's strange. It's a kind of style that you will not find anywhere else. So, composed in elegant language, it includeth the subjects of other books. It is, talking about Puranas here, it is elucidated by other Shastras. Shastras, as far as I know, is writings, scripture, and comprehends the sense of the four Vedas. We are desirous of hearing that history, also called Bharata, the holy composition of the wonderful Vyasa, which dispelleth the fear of evil, just as it was cheerfully recited by the Rishi Vaisampayana, under the direction of Dvaipayana himself, at the snake sacrifice of Raja Janamajaya. Here they are mentioning Vyasa, also known as Vyasa Deva. He is the one that, for the reason that Kali Yuga, by the way guys, don't take anything literally that I'm telling you, and do your own research, don't take my word for it, alright? So this Vyasa, because of the coming of the age of Kali Yuga, which was about 5,000 years ago, could also be 6,000 or 7,000 years ago. He was he had the idea that because of the coming of Kali Yuga, people would lose the ability to memorize things that they have heard. And so he saw that there was a reason, a necessity to write things down. And that's one of the reasons why there are these Sanskrit verses in the first place. He wrote them. Well, actually, he didn't write them. He got the son of Shiva to write it for him while he was reciting it. We will get to that also. I know that's coming up later. Sauti then said, restarting, having bowed down to the primordial being Isana, to whom multitudes make offerings, and who is adored by the multitude, who is the true incorruptible one, Brahma, perceptible, imperceptible, eternal. You see, it says dot comma, that's semicolon, right? You see how there already is a contradiction here? It says, who is the true incorruptible one? Brahma, that's the creation God. And then it says perceptible and imperceptible. So, which of the two is it? You can't be both at the same time. That violates the law of identity. You see? Continuing, and this goes on more with this contradictory stuff, even worse, because I don't get what it says here. Who is both a non-existing and an existing non-existing being? Alright, what are you supposed to make of that, right? Who is the universe and also distinct from the existing and non-existing universe? Right? What are we supposed to do with that? Who is the universe and also distinct from the existing and non-existing universe? That those, it's just me, but those look like contradictions to me. Who is the creator of high and low? Something like reminds me of above and below. As above, so below. The ancient, exalted, inexhaustible one, who is Vishnu, beneficent of the beneficence itself, worthy of all preference, pure and immaculate, who is Hari, that's the same as Vishnu, the ruler of the faculties, the guide of all things movable and immovable. I will declare the sacred thoughts of the illustrious sage Vyasa, of marvelous deeds and worshipped here by all. Some bards have already published this history, some are now teaching it, and others, in like manner, will hereafter promulgate it upon the earth. It is a great source of knowledge established throughout the three regions of the world. Three regions of the world, what would that be? It is possessed by the twice born, both in detailed and compendious forms. It is the delight of the learned for being embellished with elegant expressions, conversations, human and divine, and a variety of poetical measures. In this world, when it was destitute of brightness and light, and enveloped all around in total darkness. This sounds like a creation myth, guys. In this world, when it was destitute of brightness and light, and enveloped all around in total darkness, there came into being, as the primal cause of creation, a mighty egg. And you will find that idea of a mighty egg back in other creation myths as well. The one inexhaustible seed of all created beings. It is called Mahadivya and was formed at the beginning of the Yuga. Yuga is a time, an era, in which we are told was the true light Brahma, the Eternal One, the wonderful and inconceivable being present alike in all places, the invisible and subtle cause, whose nature partaketh of entire, of entity and non-entity. From this egg came out the Lord Pitama Brahma, the only Prajapati, with Suraguru and Shtuna. Then appeared the 21 Prajapatis, Vish, Manu, Visata and Parameshti. 10 Prachetas, Daksha, and the 7 sons of Daksha. Then appeared the man of inconceivable nature, whom all the rishis known, and so the Vishvadevas, the Adityas, the Vasus, and the twin Ashvins, the Yakshas, the Sadyas, the Pishasas, the Gulraikas, and the Pitris. All after these were produced the wise and most holy Brahmarshis and the numerous Rajarshis, distinguished by every noble quality. So the water, the heavens, the earth, the air, the sky, the points of the heavens, the years, the seasons, the months, the fortnights called pakshas, with the day and night in due succession, and thus were produced all things which are known to mankind. And what is seen in the universe, whether animate or inanimate, of created things, will at the end of the world, and after the expiration of the Yuga, be again confounded. And at the commencement of other yugas, all things will be renovated, and, like the various fruits of the earth, succeed each other in due order of their seasons. You see this circular thing. Thus continueth perpetually to revolve in the world, without beginning and without end, this wheel which causeth the destruction of all things. The generation of Devas, in brief, was 33,000, 3333. What's it with this number 3? The sons of Div were Primat Banu, Chaksus, Atmavibhavasu, Savita, Richika, Arka, Buna, Ashvaha, and Ravi. Of these Vivashvans of old, Maya was the youngest, whose son was Devavrata. The latter had for his son Suvrata, who had 3 sons, Dasa, Jyoti, Satyajyoti, and Saharsa Jyoti, each of them producing numerous offspring. The illustrious Dasa Jyoti had 10,000, Satyajyoti 10 times that number, and Saharsa Jyoti 10 times the number of Satyajyoti's offspring. From these are descended the family of the Kuru and the Yadus, and of Bharata, the family of Jayati, and of Ikshvaku. Also of the Rajarshis. Numerous also were the generations produced, and very abundant were the creatures and their places of abode. The mystery which is threefold, the Vedas, Yoga, and Vijnana Dharma, Artha, Artha and Kama, also various books upon the subject of Dharma, Artha and Kama, also rules for the conduct of mankind, also histories and discourses with various Shrutis, all of which, having been seen by the Rishi Vyasa, are here in due order mentioned as a specimen of the book. The Rishi Vyasa published this mass of knowledge in both a detailed and abridged form. It is the wish of the learned in the world to possess the details and the abridgment. Some read the Bharata beginning with the initial mantra, invocation, others with the story of Ashtika, others with Uparichara, while some Brahmanas study the whole. Men of learning display their various knowledge of the institutes in commenting on the composition. Some are skillful in explaining it, while others in remembering its contents. The son of Satyavati, having by penance and meditation analyzed the internal Veda, afterwards composed this holy history. When that learned Brahmarshi of strict vows, the noble Dvaipayana Vyasa, offspring of Parasara, had finished the greatest of narrations, he began to consider how he might teach it to his disciples. And the professor of the 6 attributes, Brahma, the world's preceptor, knowing of the anxiety of the Rishi Dvaipayana, came in person to the place where the latter was, for gratifying the saint and benefiting the people. And when Vyasa, surrounded by all the tribes of Munis, saw him, he was surprised, standing with joined palms, he bowed and ordered a seat to be brought. And Vyasa, having gone around him, who is called Hiranyagarbha, seated on that distinguished seat, stood near it, and being commanded by Brahma Parameshti, he sat down near the seat, full of affection and smiling in joy. Then the greatly glorious Vyasa, addressing Brahma Parameshti, said, O divine Brahma, by me a poem hath been composed which is greatly respected. The mystery of the Vedas and what other subjects have been explained by me. The various rituals of the Upanishads with the Angas, the compilation of the Puranas and history formed by me and named after the three divisions of time, past, present and future, the determination of the nature of decay, fear, disease, existence and non-existence, a description of creeds and of the various modes of life, rule for the four castes, and the import of all the Puranas, an account of asceticism and of the duties of a religious student, the dimensions of the sun and moon, the planets, constellations and stars, together with the duration of the 4 ages, the Rig, Sama and Yajurveda. Also the Adhyatma, the sciences called Nyaya, orthophy and treatment of diseases, charity and Pasaputta Dharma, birth, celestial and human, for particular purposes, also a description of places of pilgrimage and other holy places of rivers, mountains, forests, the ocean, of heavenly cities and the kalpas, the art of war, the different kinds of nations and languages, the nature of the manners of the people, and the all-pervading spirit. All these have been represented, but after all, no writer of this work is to be found on earth. Brahma said, I esteem thee for thy knowledge of divine mysteries before the whole body of celebrated munis distinguished for the sanctity of their lives. I know thou hast revealed the divine word even from its first utterance in the language of truth. Thou hast called thy present work a poem, wherefore it shall be a poem. There shall be no poet whose work may equal the description of this poem, even as the 3 other modes called ashrama are ever unequal in merit to the domestic ashrama. Let Ganesha be thought of, O Muni, for the purpose of writing the poem. Alright, so Ganesha is the son of Shiva, and Brahma is telling Vyasa to think of him for writing this poem. Sauti said, Brahma, having thus spoken to Vyasa, retired to his own abode. Then Vyasa began to call to mind Ganesha, and Ganesha, obviator of obstacles, ready to fulfill the desire of his votaries, was no sooner thought of than he repaired to the place where Vyasa was seated. Repaired? Is that not supposed to mean appeared? And when he had been saluted and was seated, Vyasa addressed him thus, O guide of the Ganas, be thou the writer of the Bharata which I have formed in my imagination, and which I am about to repeat. Ganesha, upon hearing this address, thus answered, I will become the writer of thy work, provided my pen does not for a moment cease writing. And Vyasa said unto that divinity, Wherever there be anything thou dost not comprehend, cease to continue writing. Ganesha, having signified his assent by repeating the word Om, proceeded to write, and Vyasa began, and by way of diversion, he knit the knots of composition exceeding close. Alright. By doing which he dedicated his work according to his engagement. I am, continued Sati, acquainted with 8,800 verses, and so is Sukha, and perhaps Sanjaya. From the mysteriousness of their meaning, O Muni, no one is able to this day to penetrate those closely knit difficult slokas. Right? Sloka is a verse. Even the omniscient Ganesha took a moment to consider, while Vyasa, however, continued to compose other verses in great abundance. The wisdom of this work, like unto an instrument of applying collyrium. What the heck is collyrium, guys? Hath opened the eyes of the inquisitive world, blinded by the darkness of ignorance. As the sun dispelleth the darkness, so does the Bharata, by its discourses on religion, profit, pleasure, and final release, dispel the ignorance of man. As the full moon, by its mild light, expanded the buds of the water lily, so this Purana, by exposing the light of the Shruti, hath expanded the human intellect. By the lamp of history, which destroyeth the darkness of ignorance, the whole mansion of nature is properly and completely illuminated. This work is a tree, of which the chapter of contents is the seed. The divisions called Pauloma and Ashtika are the root. The part called Sambhava is the trunk. The books called Sabha and Aranya are the roosting perches. The book called Arani is the knitting knots. The books called Virata and Udyoga is the pith. The book named Bhishma, the main branch. The book called Drona, the leaves. The book called Karna, the fair flowers. Bhishma, Drona and Karna were present at the battle of Kurukshetra. The book named Salya, alright, so these are not only names of books, they are also names of people. People. Yeah. The book named Salya, their sweet smell. The book entitled Stri and Ashika, the refreshing shade. The book called Santi, the mighty fruit. The book called Ashvamedha, the immortal sap. The denominated Ashramavasika, the spot where it groweth. And the book called Mausala is an epitome of the Vedas and held in great respect by the virtuous Brahmanas. Right, Brahmanas is a name given to people which are in the caste called Brahmanas, division of society. The tree of Bharata, inexhaustible to mankind as the clouds, shall be a source of livelihood to all distinguished poets. Hold on, guys. Vyasa hath fully represented the greatness of the house of Kuru, the virtuous principles of Gandhari, the wisdom of Vidura, and the constancy of Kunti. The noble Rishi hath also described the divinity of Vasudeva, the rectitude of the sons of Pandu, and the evil practices of the sons and partisans of Dhritarashtra. There's a little background information. People that were at the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which Dhritarashtra was viewing. He's blind, by the way, so he had a servant viewing via remote viewing the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and that he was told what was going on at the battlefield while he was sitting in his palace. Vyasa executed the compilation of the Bharata, exclusive of the episodes originally, in 24,000 verses. And so much only is called by the learned as the Bharata. Afterwards he composed an epitome in 150 verses, consisting of the introduction with the chapter of contents. This he first taught to his son Sukha, and afterwards he gave it to others of his disciples who were possessed of the same qualifications. After that he executed another compilation consisting of 600,000 verses. Of those, 100,000 are known in the world of the Devas, 1,500,000 in the world of the Pitris, 1,400,000 among the Gandharvas, and 100,000 in the regions of mankind. Narada recited them to the Devas, Devala to the Pitris, and Sukha published them to the Gandharvas, Yakshas and Rakshasas. And in this world they were recited by Vaisampayana, one of the disciples of Vyasa, a man of just principles, and the first among those acquainted with the Vedas. Know that I, Sauti, have also repeated 100,000 verses. Yudhishthira is a vast tree, formed of religion and virtue. Arjuna is its trunk, Bhimasena its branches, and the two sons of Madri are its full-grown fruit and flowers, and its roots are Krishna, Brahma, and the Brahmanas. Those are also quote-unquote people that were present at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Yudhishthira is leader of the Kurus. Arjuna is the archer. Bhima is the one clubbing everybody down with his weapon. The two sons of Madri, which are like twins. I'm not exactly sure what their role was at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. These are, by the way, there's 5 major quote-unquote people at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. They are 5 brothers, right? Arjuna and Bhima being 2 of them, the 2 sons of Madri, whose names I don't remember at the moment, but are considered twins. They represent, and this is not the only representation probably, but they represent the 5 senses of human beings. Pandu, after having subdued many countries by his wisdom and prowess, took up his abode with the Munis in a certain forest as sportsman, where he brought upon himself a very severe misfortune for having killed a stag coupling with its mate, which served as a warning for the conduct of the princes of his house as long as they lived. Their mothers, in order that the ordinances of law might be fulfilled, admitted and as substitutes to their embraces the gods of Dharma, Vajju, Sakra, and the divinities, the twin Aswins, and where their offspring grew up, under the care of their two mothers and the society of ascetics, in the midst of the sacred groves and holy recluse abodes of religious men, they were conducted by rishis into the presence of Dhritarashtra and his sons, who by the way had 100 sons. Following as students in the habit of brahmacharis, having their hair tied in knots on their heads, "These are our pupils," said they, "are as your sons, your brothers, and your friends. They are Pandavas." Saying this, the Munis disappeared. Pandavas, yeah. I mistakenly called them pandas a while ago when I was talking to JJ in the chat. They are Pandavas. Why are they called Pandavas? Because their father is called Pandu. When the Kauravas saw them introduced as the son of Pandu, the distinguished class of citizens shouted exceedingly for joy. Some, however, said they were not the sons of Pandu, others said they were, while a few asked how they could be his offspring, seeing he had been so long dead. Still, on all sides voices were heard crying, "They are all on accounts welcome. Through divine providence we behold the family of Pandu." Alright? So, yeah, the question is why are these other people saying that they are not the sons of Pandu? Well, this has to do with the mythical story of their mother. I believe her name was Kunti, but I can get names mixed up though, so don't take my word for it. But she had done a lot of penance and was given a gift by the gods. And she was able to summon any demigod, it's like a half god, like for instance the sun god, or the god of the wind. And when she did so, she summoned 5 gods, and all of these gods were so grabbed by Kunti's beauty that they all impregnated her, and that's how these 5 sons came about. Alright? When the Kauravas saw them we just did that. Let their welcome be proclaimed. As these acclamations ceased, the plaudits of invisible spirits, causing every point of the heavens to resound, were tremendous. There were showers of sweet-scented flowers, and the sound of shells and kettle drums. Such were the wonders that happened on the arrival of the young princess. The joyful noise of all the citizens, in expression of their satisfaction on the occasion, was so great that it reached the very heavens in magnifying plaudits. Alright? Alright guys, listen up. I'm gonna do something I've never done before on the radio. And probably going to do this in the following Solvinur events. It's the top of the hour, and so we're gonna have a little break. But I will give you something to listen to. So, here we go. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Hold on, guys. Yeah. Hoppla. Chupa. Here we go again.
Such possibilities each and every day. I heard a calling that was right for me. I prayed for strength for what's ahead of me. Show me the way. Please show me the way. The sun was high and burnt the night away. Who stood before me was my enemy. To tread on me. He's come to take away my liberties. I'd rather die than be a slave to thee. Don't chain me this way. I'd rather die than be your slave. I will survive. They lay dead by me. Hit them hard, we made them pay that day. We hung the traitors from the highest trees. Mercy from me. Lost a lot, our pain was heavy. We sacrificed for God and country. So held the ground that was in front of me. This was the price to pay for liberty. Still you hear me say, I'd rather die than be your slave. I will survive. While man has stayed the same. Tribal families will not over me. I will not let them break my liberty. We'll tie the dancing. I'm not driving me your slave. I will survive and give my rage. It's not a question.
Alright, everybody. That was Poker Face. Rather die than be your slave. You type that into Google, you will get it over there. So, this is the second hour. And let's see. Welcome everybody in the chat. 8 Hawks, Colby, Dan, Jax, JJ, Joe, Lumper, Mrs. C, Gypsy, Vince, Dan, and 3 Anons. Welcome everybody. So, let's pick this up where we left off. Having studied the whole of the Vedas and sundry other Shastras, the Pandavas resided there, respected by all and without apprehension from anyone. Alright, this is rather strange. Here I run into another contradiction, because I know from the story of the Mahabharata, which you can also find, by the way, in a 6-hour about video by Peter Brooks on the YouTube. And there, at the end of the movie, so to speak, they seem to be all dead. You know, and Yudhishthira, he's apparently the only one still alive, and he's in some strange realm looking for his companions, and he's being shown that the Pandavas are in hell, and it stinks, and it's dark, and it's cold, and so that's rather strange, isn't it? How can they be there and in the woods at the same time, right? Excuse me, I should roll another cigarette. Here it is. Hold on, guys. The principal men were pleased with the purity of Yudhishthira. Right? That's the leader of the 5. The courage of Arjuna. The submissive attention of Kunti to her superiors. Yeah, see? Probably I remember that name correct. And the humility of the twins Nakula and Sahadeva. And all the people rejoiced in their heroic virtues. After a while, Arjuna obtained the virgin Krishna at the Swayamvara in the midst of the concourse of Rajas by performing a very difficult feat of archery. Alright, so maybe this is taking place before the Battle of Kurukshetra? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, guys. That would get rid of the contradiction that they are dead and here at the same time, right? It's great. I don't see an explanation of the timeline here. So, when is this supposed to take place? I thought it was after the Battle of Kurukshetra, but who knows? After a while, I read that, and then from this time he became very much respected in this world among all bowmen, and in the fields of battle also. Like the sun, he was hard to behold by foe men. After having vanquished all the neighboring princes and every considerable tribe, he accomplished all that was necessary for the Raja to perform the great sacrifice called Rajasuya. So, you know, this seems like after the Battle of Kurukshetra, you know, he vanquished all the princes and all. So, I don't know what's going on here, guys. Yudhishthira, after having, through the wise counsel of Vasudeva and by the valor of Bhimasena and Arjuna, slain Jarasandha, that's the king of Magadha, and the proud Chaida, acquired the right to perform the grand sacrifice of Rajasuya, abounding in provisions and offering and fraught with transcendent merits. And Duryodhana came to this sacrifice. Duryodhana, that's the leader of the other side. Jeez, I'm so bad with names, right? Kurus and the other guys. I don't know. Who, by the way, is related. There's a family relation between the 5 brothers and Duryodhana. And Duryodhana came to this sacrifice, and when he beheld the vast wealth of the Pandavas scattered all around, the offerings, the precious stones, gold and jewels, the wealth in cows, elephants and horses, the curious textures, garments and mantles, the precious shawls and furs, and carpets made of the skin of the ranku. I don't know, is that a deer? He was filled with envy and became exceedingly displeased. And when he beheld the hall of the assembly elegantly constructed by Maya, the Asura architect, after the fashion of a celestial court, he was inflamed with rage. Alright, so Duryodhana is not having it anymore. He can't control himself anymore. And having started in confusion at certain architectural deceptions within his building, he was derided by Bhimasena in the presence of Vasudeva like one of mean descent. And it was represented to Dhritarashtra that his son, while partaking of various objects of enjoyment and diverse precious things, was becoming meager, wan and pale, and Dhritarashtra sometime after, out of affection for his son, gave his consent to their playing with the Pandavas at dice. And Vasudeva, coming to know of this, became exceedingly wroth. After being dissatisfied, he did nothing to prevent the disputes, but overlooked the gaming and sundry other horrid, unjustifiable transactions arising therefrom. And in spite of Vidura, Bhishmu, Drona and Kripa, the son of Saradvan, he made the Kshatriyas kill each other in the terrific war that ensued. Alright, so that there's another story of the son of Dhritarashtra and gambling. That's that is pre the Battle of Kurukshetra, where the 5 Pandavas lose everything due to gambling and are banished into the mountains for 13 years. All right. In this time, Arjuna is leaving his brothers who are in the mountains, and he's going to climb this mountain where he will find Shiva, because he's preparing for war, and he knows that Shiva is one able to give him a weapon that is called Mahabrahmastra, and this weapon supposedly is what we today know as a nuke. Alright. Attend, O Sanjaya, to all I am about to say, and it will not become thee to treat me with contempt. Thou art well versed in the Shastras, intelligent and endowed with wisdom. My inclination was never to war, nor did I delight in the destruction of my race. I made no distinction between my own children and the children of Pandu. My own sons were prone to willfulness and despised me because I am old, blind as I am because of my miserable plight, and through paternal affection I bore it all. I was foolish. Alter, the thoughtless Duryodhana, I don't get this word here. I was foolish, alter the thoughtless Duryodhana, ever growing in folly. Alright, I don't get that sentence. Having been a spectator of the riches of the mighty sons of Pandu, my son was derided for his awkwardness while ascending the hall, unable to bear it all and unable himself to overcome the sons of Pandu in the field. So see, this is after the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And though a soldier, unwilling yet to obtain good fortune by his own exertion, with the help of the king of Gandhara, he concerted an unfair game at dice. Strange. It seems like it's after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, yet this game of dice keeps coming up, and this is before, if it's the same game of dice. It's before Kurukshetra, so I don't know what's going on. Hear, O Sanjaya, and that's with your ears. Hear, O Sanjaya, all that happened thereupon, and came to my knowledge. And when thou hast heard all I say, recollecting everything as it fell out, thou shalt then know me for one with a prophetic eye. When I heard that Arjuna, having bent the bow, had pierced the curious mark, and brought it down to the ground, and bore away in triumph the maiden Krishna, in sight of the assembled princes, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. Alright, so I remember, and again, this is from the stories that I have been told by other people that have studied the Vedas, that Arjuna did go to a contest where he used his bow to attain marriage, all right, but he didn't marry Krishna. I mean, Krishna is a guy, he's not a girl. So I don't get this, you know. He even was, he didn't come to this contest as Arjuna, he was disguised as a Brahmana, so that's also very strange. You know, a Brahmana is not supposed to carry or weapons. You know, Brahmanas are trained in mind control, you know. So, they know how to mind control people. And I don't mean like person to person, no, whole groups of people, millions of people. So that's strange. I don't know what to think of this. Maiden Krishna. When I heard that Subhadra of the race of Madhu had, after forcible seizure, been married by Arjuna in the city of Dvaraka, and that the two heroes of the race of Vrishni, Krishna and Balarama, the brothers of Subhadra, without resenting it, had entered Indraprastha as friends, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. Krishna and Balarama, also known as Krishna and Rama, Rama of the Ramayana. When I heard that Arjuna by his celestial arrow preventing the downpour by Indra, the king of the gods, had gratified Agni by making over to him the forest of Kandava, then, O Sanyanya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that the 5 Pandavas with their mother Kunti had escaped from the house of Lak, and that Vidura was engaged in the accomplishment of their designs, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. Alright, it says here that the 5 Pandavas and their mother Kunti had escaped from the house of Lak. That's L-A-C. There is a time in which the 5 Pandavas and their mother were at the palace of Dhritarashtra, and the sons of Dhritarashtra, they were evil, right? In this story, they are the evil guys, and they wanted to get rid of them, of these 5 Pandavas, and they had this castle or temple or a huge building made for them, for the 5 Pandavas to take a vacation in, and the house, however, was made of wax and oil and everything that would burn, and they were supposed to die in there, being burned. However, this idea, this plot, was noticed by other people, and they got word out to these 5 Pandavas, and so the Pandavas hired a miner, and this miner dug a hole so that they could escape, and they managed also to get other people in the house that did burn, again, evil people, right? And so it was for a moment thought that they were dead, when in fact they went in hiding, alright? When I heard that Arjuna, after having pierced the mark in the arena, had won Draupadi, see, there you go. It's not made in Krishna, it's Draupadi that he wins. And then the brave Panchalas had joined the Pandavas, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When he's saying no hope of success, he means the war, the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He was sure that Arjuna was going to win. When I heard that Jarasandha, the foremost of the royal line of Magadha, and blazing in the midst of the Kshatriyas, alright, that's the army people, a caste in India, below the Brahmanas, they are the Kshatriyas, they are well trained in warfare. When I heard that Jarasandha had been slain by Bhima with his bare arms alone, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that in their general campaign the sons of Pandu had conquered the chiefs on the land and performed the grand sacrifice of Rajasura, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard that Draupadi, her voice choked with tears and her heart full of agony, in the season of impurity, and with one raiment on, had been dragged into court, and though she had protectors, she had been treated as if she had none, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. She had been dragged into court because there was this dice game that was mentioned before, and she was put up as a stake, which was rather strange, because he had already put himself up as a stake and lost, and therefore he had no right to put Draupadi up as a stake. But that's what happened anyway. This Draupadi was dragged into court, and they tried to tear the clothes off of her, which did not succeed, because miraculously, somehow, Krishna, the most upper god, right, appeared somehow, or seen or unseen, I don't know, but he got so much cloth appearing on Draupadi's body that it was unable to undress her. When I heard that Yudhishthira had been followed into the wilderness by Snatakas and noble-minded Brahmanas who live upon alms, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. Alright, this is going to go on with a lot of no hope of success, so I'm going to skip all of that. No need to repeat it every time. When I heard that Arjuna, having in combat pleased the god of gods, the Triyambaka, the three-eyed, in the disguise of a hunter, obtained the great weapon Pasupata, then, O Sanjaya, no hope of success. When I heard that the just and renowned Arjuna, after having been to the celestial regions, right, there's a point in his 13-year exile that they had to go to because they lost this game of dice. Arjuna went up to celestial regions. This is the palace of Indra, and there a funny thing happens. He was sitting there, and one of the ladies there went up to him and started seducing him. But Arjuna says, no, I can't do that. Draupadi is my wife. And the lady got mad and cursed him. And when Indra heard of this curse, he said, well, you shouldn't have done that. And we're going to adjust this curse. And the curse was, at the end, that he was going to be a woman for a year. And this is also the time where he learns to dance. And this dancing, right, is also used in warfare, right? Had there, in the celestial regions, had there obtained celestial weapons from Indra himself, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When I heard then that afterwards Arjuna had vanquished the Kalakeyas and the Paulamos, proud with the boon they had obtained, and which had rendered them invulnerable even to the celestials. When I heard that Arjuna, the chastiser of enemies, having gone to the regions of Indra for the destruction of the Asuras, right? Asura means devils. That's probably the best description one could give. But these are not devils like creatures with horns. No, these are just people. All right. When I heard that Arjuna had gone to the regions of Indra for the destruction of the Asuras, had returned thence successfully, no hope of success. When I heard that Bhima and the other sons of Pritha, accompanied by Vaishravana, had arrived at that country which is inaccessible to man, no hope of success. When I heard that my sons, guided by the counsel of Karna, while on their journey of Goshayatra, whatever that is, had been taken prisoner by the Gandharvas and were set free by Arjuna. I never heard that story before. When I heard that Dharma, the god of justice, is that so? Dharma is spelled here with a capital D. Deification. Alright, so apparently Dharma is not only an idea, it's also a god of justice. Right? The idea of Dharma is that there is a way in which humans should behave, according to all these rules and regulations that you can find in these mythologies of how humans are supposed to behave. Dharma is known as your original duty. Alright? When I heard that Dharma, having come under the form of a yaksha, had proposed certain questions to Yudhishthira, then no hope of success. When I heard that my sons had failed to discover the Pandavas under their disguise while residing with Draupadi in the dominions of Virata, no hope of success. When I heard that the principal men of my side had all been vanquished by the noble Arjuna with a single chariot while residing in the dominions of Virata, when I heard that Vasudeva of the race of Madhu, who covered the whole earth by 1 foot, that's a big foot, was heartily interested in the welfare of the Pandavas, when I heard that the king of Matsya had offered his virtuous daughter Uttara to Arjuna, and that Arjuna had accepted her for his son, when I heard that Yudhishthira, beaten at dice, deprived of wealth, exiled, and separated from his connections, had assembled yet an army of 7 Akshauhinis, when I heard that Narada declared that Krishna and Arjuna were Nara and Narayana, and that he, Narada, had seen them together in the regions of Brahma, when I heard that Krishna, anxious to bring about peace for the welfare of mankind, had repaired to the Kurus and went away without having been able to effect his purpose, all of that, when I heard, no hope of success, right? It says here that Krishna, where does it say it here? It says here, I heard that Krishna, anxious to bring about peace, yeah, that this seems like another contradiction. It seems more like Krishna wanted this war to happen. He could have stopped it. I mean, he's God. He's the God of gods. He goes above Brahma, who is the creator God. He is Shiva, the God of destruction. There is no difference between Krishna or Vishnu and Shiva. So if he wanted to, he could have just whisked away his enemies, throw them in the hellfire or whatever, and this war would never have happened. So, how is it that he is so apparently being peaceful? It doesn't make sense. There's a war, and Krishna himself is actively engaging in this war as a chariot driver for Arjuna. So, when I heard that Kama and Duryodhana resolved upon imprisoning Krishna, displayed in himself the whole universe, When I heard that at the time of his departure, Pritha, standing full of sorrow near his chariot, received consolation from Krishna, when I heard that Vasudeva and Bhishma, the son of Santanu, were the counselors of the Pandavas, and Drona, the son of Bharajvaya, pronounced blessing on them, when Kama said unto Bhishma, I will not fight when thou art fighting, and quitting the army went away, when I heard that Vasudeva and Arjuna and the bow Gandiva of immeasurable prowess, these three of dreadful energy had come together, when I heard that upon Arjuna, having been seized with compunction on his chariot and ready to sink, Krishna showed him all the worlds within his body, when I heard that Bhishma, the desolator of foes, killing 10,000 charioteers every day in the field of the battle, had not slain any amongst the Pandavas, when I heard that Bhishma, the righteous son of Ganga, had himself indicated the means of his defeat in the field of battle. Yeah, it's a nice story. The Bhishma is on the other side. He's with the sons of Dhritarashtra, and he's fighting the Pandavas. Bhishma is also the teacher, the guru of the Pandavas, though. You know, he's really fond of them. And there is this mythological story again, that there is this boy who was secretly learning all of the things that Bhishma, who is one of the best ever warriors, he knows everything about warfare, and so this boy is trying to learn from him. And what this boy did, he had made a clay representation of Bhishma, and he's training in front of this clay representation, and he's pretty good. I mean, he's so good that this boy even puts Arjuna to shame when it comes to using bows. And so Bhishma, he will not have this, right? He's like, what's going on here? Arjuna is supposed to be the best bow user on earth. And he finds out that he's in secret had been training the ways of Bhishma. And when he heard that, he went to this boy and saw his clay statue, and he said to the boy, well, what's going on here? And the boy said, oh, my master, this is a representation of you, and I'm training, and ask anything that you want, because you are my master. And so what does he do? He tells the boy to chop off his thumb. All right, so in which case, you know, he can never use a bow again. Now, I hope I'm not getting two stories. I think I'm getting two stories messed up here. What's the other story? What's the story of... hold on, guys. Hold on. My memory is not working with me at this point. What was this story? Let me think, hold on. It was a boy, or was it a girl? I don't remember. I'll when I get when I get a memory of it, I'll try and tell it. This story that I just told you has no relation to Bhishma being destroyed. Yeah, I don't remember. There's some story. Well, Jax, how you doing, buddy? Let's pick this up again. When I heard that Arjuna, having placed Shikandin before himself in his chariot, had wounded Bhishma of infinite courage and invincibility in the battle, then Sanjaya had no hope of success. Yeah, that's another small tidbit. That Bhishma, he is invincible, right? There's nobody that can touch him. When you go watch the 6-hour video by Peter Brooks of the Mahabharata, awesome, Jax, good to hear. Yeah, you will see that Bhishma, he's being carried on this platform by his servants, and he's shooting his bow here and there and using his axe here and there. And when his enemies are firing arrows at him, all of these arrows land before him or beside him or after him. It's like he's got this impenetrable field around him, and no arrow is getting through. You know? So he really is invincible. Alright, that's the story. You can't beat him. And that's why he says there is no hope of success when Bhishma himself has given the information of how to defeat him. The only way he could defeat him was if he had laid down his weapons. And at some point, a quote-unquote woman is able to get him to lay down his weapon, and she uses an arrow and shoots him down. His whole body is filled with arrows, and he still wouldn't die. He's laying on a bed of arrows, and he still wouldn't die. That's because he got a boon from the gods that he could choose the timing of his own death. That's why he was invincible, you see. But I don't remember exactly how this girl, because there's a whole story of how this girl gets him to lay down his arms. It's a revenge of this girl, and in a previous life something happened. Maybe it is the story with the boy of the thumb, but I'm not sure again. I'm not sure exactly anymore. It's a reincarnation story, right? But there's something about why it is a girl. You know, it seems like a curse. A girl on a battlefield, right? It's supposed to be fought by men, not by girls. So that's a bit strange. When I heard that the aged hero Bhishma, having reduced the number of the race of Shomaka to a few, overcome with various wounds, was lying on a bed of arrows, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. Yeah. He's lying on a bed of arrows because he's pierced with all of these arrows, and still not dying. When I heard that upon Bhishma's lying on the ground with thirst for water, Arjuna, being requested, had pierced the ground and allayed his thirst. Alright, so Arjuna comes and he shoots an arrow on the ground, and poof, water comes out of the ground. Does that remind you of a story in the Bible where somebody ticks his staff against the stone and water comes out? When I heard that upon Bhishma, we just did that. When Baju, together with Indra and Surya, united as allies for the success of the sons of Kunti, and the beasts of prey, by their inauspicious presence, were putting us in fear, then, O Sanjaya, I had no hope of success. When the wonderful warrior Drona, displaying various modes of fight in the field, did not slay any of the superior Pandavas, when I heard that the Maharata Sansaptakas of our army appointed for the overthrow of Arjuna were all slain by Arjuna himself, when I heard that our disposition of forces, impenetrable by others, and defended by Bharadvaya himself, well armed, had been single-forced and entered by the brave son of Subhadra, when I heard that our Maharathas, unable to overcome Arjuna, with jubilant faces, after having jointly surrounded and slain the boy Abhimanyu, then he had no hope of success. Alright, so this is another story. The boy Abhimanyu. Alright, so the war is going on, and I don't know exactly which day it is in the war. This war is taking 18 days. Right, there's 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita. Supposedly every day one chapter was read. Hold on, guys. Alright, so I don't remember what day. Let's say the 6th day or the 7th day. Arjuna and his warriors, they went to a side of the battlefield. And the camp where the wounded are treated and people are taking a rest was virtually undefended. And the son of Abhimanyu was there. And the people at the camp saw that there was something coming. Alright? This something is a magical feat by the enemy. They had made a kind of a moving wall with of shields, and this moving wall of shields was impenetrable. You couldn't break it, and it was coming towards the camp to destroy it. And so Abhimanyu was taught, however, how to break this magical shield. And so he says to his mother, who's also there, he says, "Give me my sword and shield, and I will stop this wall." And his mother says, "No, don't do that, you will die." And he's not stopped by the words of his mother, though. And so he goes with a couple of soldiers behind him to this wall, and he says to the soldiers behind him, "When I break a hole into this wall, come and follow me, so that we can go to the center and destroy the people there." Alright, so this Abhimanyu, he's coming to where this moving wall is, and he stops, and he utters some words, right? Remember, this is all magical stuff, right? He utters some words, and all of a sudden this wall seems to break up. And he moves in and uses another couple of words, right? Speaks another chant or spell, and the wall seems to be breaking up. However, the people behind him were not fast enough, and the wall closes behind him again. And so Abhimanyu is, when he finally gets to the center, he's surrounded by all of his enemies, and there's nobody coming to backing him up. And so he gets killed at the center of this moving wall. And Arjuna is very saddened by this, because his son, has died in this war. And that's that story. There's more to this story. about this news that Abhimanyu is dead, is very sad, and the leader of the Pandavas, he has to come up with a trick to not let this information out, or actually he has to come up with a trick to mislead some of the enemies, but that's another story. When I remember it fully, I might tell it, but it's not coming back to me fully at the moment. Alright, where were we? When I heard, well, what time is it? 51, we only got 9 minutes left. When I heard that Arjuna had vowed the death of Sandaiva and fulfilled his vow in the presence of his enemies, when I heard that upon the horses of Arjuna being fatigued, Vasudeva, releasing them, made them drink water and bringing them back, and reharnessing them, continued to guide them as before. When I heard that while his horses were fatigued, Arjuna, staying in his chariot, checked all his assailants. When I heard that Yudhana of the race of the Vrishni, after having thrown into confusion the army of Drona, rendered unbearable in prowess owing to the presence of elephants, retired to where Krishna and Arjuna were. When I heard that Karna, even though he had got Bhima within his power, allowed him to escape after only addressing him in contemptuous terms and dragging him with the end of his bow. When I heard that Drona, Kritavarma, Kripa, Karna, the son of Drona, and the violent king of Madra, suffered Sandava to be slain. When I heard that the celestial Sakti given by Indra was by Madhava's machinations caused to be hurled upon Rakshasa Gotchak, Gacho. Right, there's another story. In the absence, when they lost the dice game and they were exiled for 13 years, one of the sons, the very strong guy, was seduced by a Rakshasa, and they had a son, and they are kind of the devilish kind, right? In the movie, when you go watch it, and I suggest you do, it's 6 hours, but I still suggest you do. They are people, right, in the movie, but Rakshasas are mythical beings, right? These are not people, and I call them devilish because we don't have any other words for it. But it's not really the devil, as we know it from the Bible. Let's just say entities on the dark side, or whatever you want to call it, right? So he had a son, and his son is called Gatotkacha. And after a while, he has to leave his wife and his son, and this son is growing very big. He's taller than men, right? And he's also very strong, and he's also able to use magic and things like that. And he was so glad that one of the sons of Pandu was his father, and he was so glad to be alive in the first place that when his father left, Gatotkacha said, "Whenever you need me, just call out my name and I will come help you. And this is what happens during one of the days of the battle, that there is this danger of success by the enemies, and the only thing that he could think of was calling his son. And because of his son's death, because of this sacrifice, the enemy's success was no longer there, you see. When I heard, continuing, that in the encounter between Karna and Gotchakacha, that Sakti was hurled against Gatakocha by Karna, the same which was certainly to have slain Arjuna in the battle. So it's a protection, it's a sacrifice for saving Arjuna. When I heard that Drishtadyumna, transgressing the laws of battle, slew Drona while alone in his chariot and resolved on death, when I heard that Nakula, the son of Madri, having in the presence of the whole army engaged in single combat with the son of Drona, and showing himself equal to him, drove his chariot in circles around. Alright, that's the first thing I heard of Nakula engaging in battle indeed. Never heard that story before. When upon the death of Drona, his sons misused the weapon called Narayana, but failed to achieve the destruction of the Pandavas, then, O Sanjaya, there had no hope of success. Alright, this is continuing with a lot of more of these stories when that's going on. And this person speaking is saying when he heard all of that there is no hope of success. And it goes on a little bit further. We'll pick this up next week, because it's 57. And soon music will start. So we'll pick this up at page 12 next week, guys. Let me write this down so I won't forget. Page 12. Mahabharata. Alright, so I do suggest you check out the video by Peter Brooks. This story, the Mahabharata, is, according to the ancient Indian mythology, is the story of us. This, we are the descendants of whatever happened there. That's the claim that they make anyway. Right? These are our ancestors fighting a holy war, so to speak. Right? And I do think you should know about it. I really do. It's a nice story, especially when you watch the 6 hours and find out what this mythology is about. We'll understand a bit more also when next week we continue this. And that's JFK. So thanks a lot for listening, everybody. 8 Hawks, Colby, Jax, JJ, Joe, Mrs. Gypsy, Vincent, and one and on still in the chat. Stay tuned for the next program. Take care, everybody. See you later.
To create, so to say, mass-produced models of human beings arranged in some kind of a scientific